Hello everyone. Today we're gonna talk about the international leadership, and we select the two leaders. One is Richard Branson, which is a Beijing Group, and Zheng Feizhen is a Chinese company, Huawei, and we do have five people in our group. This is our content. And for me, I'm gonna talk about the leaders of the Huawei. Who is Ren Zhengfei? Ren Zhengfei is a main founder and president of the Huawei. He was born in Guizhou province on October 25th in 1944. His name in the history of the Chinese business, and he redefines Chinese entrepreneurship. He studied at the Chongqing University in 1963. After his graduation, he was employed in a construction engineering unit. In 1987, Ren Zhengfei raised 21,000 yuan to establish Huawei Technologies Company Limited, and in 1988, he served as the president of the Huawei. Right now, his company Huawei is the world's largest manufacturer of the telecommunications equipment and the second largest manufacturer of the smartphone. The second leader we're gonna talk about the Richard Branson. He founded Beijing Group. He born on the July 18th, 1950. He is the British business magnate, actor, and investor, and philanthropist. Includes and also he founded the Beijing Group in 1970s, and more than 200 large and small companies, includes the running from the aviation, finance, railways, records, wedding dresses, to the condiments. Also, entered the field of the mobile phones and the electrical products. He ranked 478 on the Forbes Global Billionaires list 2019. Net volume is $4.1 billion in 2019. When he was 16 years old, he made the first fortune in his life. In 1970, he set up the mail order record business. He opened a chain of the record store, Vision Records, in 1972. Vision brand growth repleted in 1980, and he founded Vision Atlanta Airlines. He has become a world renowned feature. In 2007, he was placed in the Time 100 most influential people in the world list.
Okay, I will start the Branson's leadership style. And with all this in mind, Branson's leadership style is more democratic and participative. Branson's had a positive leadership style, and he believes that no one can successful alone, and you cannot be a great leader without great employees to lead. So his leadership style boils down to caring for his employees. Next, and next is the Branson's leadership styles applied to the transformational leadership factors 4I. And the meaning of transformation leadership is that the interconnects the roles of leaders and subordinates and attempts to create a process between the leader and the subordinates, and that can improve the motivation and the morality of both parties. And about factor 4Is, the first one is idealized influence, and the meaning is that leaders have high standards of ethical and more conduct followers, deep respect and trust the leaders. And number two is inspirational motivation, and the leaders who communication high expectations to followers and inspiring followers high motivation and commitment and engagement in shared vision of the organization. And the number three is intellectual simulation, and simulates followers to be creative and innovative, challenge their own beliefs and values as well as those leaders and organization. And the leader will always support followers to try the new approaches, develop innovative ways of dealing with organization issue. And the last one is individualized consideration, and the leaders who provide a supportive climate in which they listen carefully to the needs of followers. And the next is every 4I factors and linked to the case study. Number one, and Branson's won a lawsuit related to British Airways and received £610,000 in compensation. And this thing is in 1984, and after they won this lawsuit, Branson evenly distributed the money to each of Virgin employees, and each one received the named British Airways bonus of £166. And this behavior gives a message to all employees have jointly won this great victory, not by Branson's own, by every employees in this company. And Branson always believes in maintaining confidence in employees, whether in good times or bad times. And the second is Branson encouraged them to call him at any time if they have any ideas or dissatisfaction. And number three, Branson spent $5 million in 2003 to buy an island in Eastern Australia specifically for his employees on vacation. In the eyes of employees, Branson has always been a good athletic boss, making employees feel very kind. And as we know, in the early of Virgin, every new employee got a Branson home phone number. Branson encouraged them to call him at any time if they had any good ideas and dissatisfaction. And those three case studies related to the 4Is, the second one to the fourth one. Every case study is a critical analysis between, when I apply to the 4S series. So that's all my part about Richard Branson's leadership style and apply the case study analysis. That's all.
Hello, I am Hao Yang Ye. I will talk about the charismatic leadership of Sir Richard Branson. Firstly, the word charm comes from the Greek word charisma, which means gift or God or supernatural power. In ancient times, people believed that some people, such as prophets, religious leaders, or healers, would receive gifts from God to help them to accomplish their earthly tasks. They are called the charismata. Although the term has a long history, it was not used to describe a secular way of leadership until the work of Max Weber, German sociologist period. He was the first leader to use the words of apply the charisma to secular and sociology circles. He proposed charisma, which refers to the charisma of the leader to his subordinates. Then charismatic leadership theory was permitted by House. In many ways, leaders are the pinnacle of transnational organizations in society, and they have the potential to change the people's habits and lives. Some people think that good leadership is actually bad one for others, and many people also stumble to the tautology of judging effective leadership by results. Sir Branson is described as a charismatic leader, and we can get the answer from the experts in the past. Secondly, Honger and Canonical proposed that charismatic leadership includes the following four characteristics. The first is processing and amplifying the vision, preparing to take tasks and to realize the vision. Third, showing sensitivity to followers' needs and showing unique quick behaviors. Thirdly, Virgin goods, products, and service are not only fashionable but also eye-catching. Rich Branson is also a genius who promotes the company's products through bold actions. He is the media master. The media will report Branson or Virgin Company many times in a week. For example, in order to emphasize the Virgin Mobile has no hidden cost, he fell from the sky almost naked in the US Times Squares. Besides, Branson has designed many model companies in the 21st century in many ways. He advocates that people are the greatest asset. The slogan is not only to impress the public, but also he has his own business principles, which is putting the staff first and customers is the second priority, and followed by its shareholders on the third place. He always believed that employees should be the first. A Virgin Atlantic allows employees to work anywhere and anytime, so this gives employees power and proves the company's trust in employees. Therefore, the company atmosphere of Virgin Group is eco-friendly, classless, similar to the family atmosphere, and everyone can enjoy it. The central point of his business philosophy is more is beautiful. In addition, Branson also likes to making an innovative entrepreneur atmosphere at Virgin Airlines. As an entrepreneur, Branson proved that he was not afraid of taking risks or making mistakes. He has a clear vision of what he wants to achieve and does not mind breaking the rules. His enthusiasm for innovation and unique business strategy have obviously stimulated the employees' innovative spirit and adventurous spirit. That's it.
Hello everyone, my part is leader-member exchange theory. The definition of the leader-member exchange theory is a relationship-based approach to leadership that focuses on the two-way relationship between leaders and followers. Previous research shows better LMX results in more resources being available to subordinate and restricted information. Employees in a mobile phone company with better LMX characteristics with a high degree of mutual trust were more willing to share their knowledge. The last version, 2016, of leader-member exchange theory of leadership development explain the growth of vertical dyadic workplace influence and team performance in terms of selection and self-selection of informal apprenticeship in leadership. It suggests that leaders select the best and make offer, and members of team accept or not. Apprentices who complete the program develop strong emotional attachment with their mentor teacher. This is reflected in the description by both of their relationship as one of mutual respect for competence, trust in character, and benevolence towards each other. Those who complete the apprenticeship training are more collaborative, helpful to all team members, more deeply engaged in team activities, and contributed more to team health and prosperity. This is in a win-win relationship by both parties, their team, network, and overall organization. For the next part is a case study of the member exchange theory. In the early days of Huawei, Zheng Feiren took the issue of food very seriously. Although employees sometimes get paid in lieu of cash, there are no slacks when it comes to food. Eating in Huawei is highly valued. It's mentioned as stability, unity, communication up and down the head. For the small family style canteen at the beginning to the big pot meal, with bookkeeping to the large restaurant with paperless advantage management. Huawei's constantly improving management style is supplemented by constantly updated catering facilities so that employees can enjoy themselves. Additional interface still can invite subordinate to have a meal. Feel those are talented person in the conversation when having a meal and focus the person to when they're during the work. That's all for my part.
Hello, I will talk about the Pascal theory of Ren Zhengfei's leadership styles. As we can see, the Pascal theory is to enhance employee performance and stratification by focusing on employee motivation. Motivational principle subordinates will be motivated if they believe, firstly, they are capable of performing their work, and that their efforts will result in a certain outcome, and then that the payoffs for doing their work are worthwhile. And for the case study of this theory, we know Huawei had a strict hierarchical characteristic which the employee is supposed to have their specific job to do. And in early stage of Huawei's development, Ren Zhengfei fully delegated the power in research and development and personal appointment salary distribution, which could be greatest stimulated innate and creative managers at all levels. Huawei has changed the bonus of year-end awards become quarterly awards. The bonus are now divided into rank and regardless of qualification, and only depends on contribution. It is possible to get a 23 level bonus at the 13th level. You know, in Huawei employee hierarchy, level 23 is already the level of CEOs. In other words, if an ordinary employee can achieve the goal in assess the high contribution and the more bonus could employee get, and it will be honored in time, even exceeding the CEO's minimum bonus without limited. Huawei's long-term incentive system for employees is the equity incentive of workers have their shared. This is not the first time for Huawei to evidence the year-end bonus. And in 2015, Huawei's employees achieved the company's full-year operating goals in advance at the end of May. And the evaluation and the distribution of annual bonus were initiated in the third quarter in advance. And therefore, Huawei make the bonus evaluate twice a year. So that's the end of my part.
From now, I will give a sum up, and here are the practical application of those two leaders who have selected in the 4 leadership series, and each series have undergone a very detailed critical analysis, and some application to the reality life. So that's all our group part to talk about the international leadership, and that is our reference